from Maryland. I think his name was
Terrence Lewis.
Terrence Lewis.
Yeah, okay. It's just no. Yeah, I mean, I'm not like no, I'm not. I don't mean to lash out at you, but it's something people ask us like 40 times a day on the website. It's just not happening. I was told actually on Christmas morning that it sounds like UCF is probably going to be where he ends up. So I would expect UCF to probably be the landing spot there. I think maybe Manny Diaz would have pursued. I was hearing some things that Manny Diaz may have pursued, but there was other people that felt like they did that they weren't. I don't think Terrence Lewis would have ever happened, and I don't think it's going to happen. And yeah, I know a lot of people ask about him and all that stuff, but that's sort of how I feel about that one. Tito, what's up? You there, Tito?
Yo, you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. What's up, man?
All right. Well, what's up, man? Number one, who would you compare your basketball game to? I hear a lot about your basketball game. And number two, of the Oregon decommits, who do you think Miami has postured themselves the best for?
Okay, I mean my basketball game. I think I'm a. That's close. I think I'm a solid. I think my player comp would be pretty close to Tyler Hero. Just a lethal scorer. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, I don't know. Out of the was the Oregon the former Oregon commits, who do you think we're in the best position with?
Yeah.
I think David Yulee, the offensive lineman. I've heard some really good things about where Miami sort of stands there. Tough guy to get a hold of for sure, but I think Miami's in a pretty good spot there. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with like Jaleel Florence and Grayson Holton, if they were to actually come on those visits that they said that they might. That would be huge to get those guys on campus too. But I think right now, like again, with none of those guys having been on campus, I'd probably lean Dave Yulee. I know he's a big Alex Mirabal guy, big Mario Cristobal guy. So that would be huge because attacking the trenches is. I think it's pretty obvious that that's exactly what he wants to do more than anything in the world is get the offense and defensive line right. So especially the offensive line. So I'd probably lean David Yulee right now. And we also got to play ball soon, Tito. I know we've almost crossed paths a few times.
Facts. Agreed.
For sure. Let me get this guy on here. Coach Harris, what's up, man?
Not much. Quick question. What's the latest on Frank Latson?
Frank Latson, yeah. I mean, I was kind of told from the beginning that there was just some like hoops that they had to sort of jump through before he could like maybe just officially hop on board. I checked in again a few days ago, and I think everyone still feels pretty confident that he's gonna come here. One of his people down south, someone that's just close to him, assured me pretty well that Miami might be the spot. So again, I think everything's still a go there, but with these transfer, I think everyone's still feeling out the transfer portal stuff and how that works exactly. So honestly, I think it's still something that there's going to be some swings and misses on and all that stuff. And I'm not saying this will be one of them, but I think there's just a wider margin for error. Like the Marcus Banks thing, like he literally told Miami he was coming to Miami. like I know that for a fact that Marcus Banks told Miami that he was coming. So, that's what we reported. And I mean, he ended up going to Mississippi State and something could have happened at the end there, but it seems like the transfer portal stuff is a little bit trickier at this point than just the regular high school recruiting. The margin, the window is much smaller and, these kids are already have been in college. So it's just different. But yeah, I still think everything's, I would still expect Frank Latson to come to Miami. I think that they'd be happy to have him. And, I think that he could contribute in a way, if he's healthy and all that stuff. And, I think he could be a big body that could really help Miami out there. But, yeah, that's probably the latest there.
What's his window time frame, like from him having to decide?
I mean, I'm not sure if there is a time frame because, I mean, I guess ideally he'd like to be enrolled by the spring. So I don't think Miami starts the spring semester until January 18th. So, I mean, it could be any time over the next 20 days or so. I mean, there's not really I don't think there's a signing window the way that there is in high school recruiting. I'm not super sure how all that works logistically, but I mean, transfers can come in the spring, they can come in the summer, they can come later than that. Transfers can come anytime. So, I mean, he's graduated from school already. I'm assuming that he's just going to want to jump in the spring. So I would bet that it happens, relatively soon. I guess I don't really have a time frame on when exactly he's going to announce or anything like that. For sure. 247 Canes, what's up, man?
What's up, Gabby? I'm just wondering I'm sorry if you've mentioned it already, but I just
No
wanted
problem.
you to talk about Mason Thomas if you can.
About Army, from what's the school? From Cardinal Gibbons?
Yes, sir. Where do we have any shot? I know he was an Iowa State commit, or he probably still is.
Yeah. Dude, he's a guy I'm super high on. I watched him against Gulliver, and I guess I don't know if it wasn't the state semifinal. I guess it was the regional final. And I admittedly haven't watched Cardinal Gibbons maybe enough as I maybe should. I should have up to this point. So that was my first time seeing like Ahmad Moten in person. That was my first time seeing Mason Thomas in person. And dude, Mason Thomas is freaky, man. Like just in terms of just like twitch off the edge. I'm really high on him. I started texting, the people in there saying like, dude, like you guys got to take a look at this kid. Like he's good. I know they went to go see him in person. I know a few of them. And, it's easy to feel this way. Like he could be a bit of a tweener. I get the feel he's more of like a 3-4 outside linebacker type than more like a hand in the dirt, 4-3 edge type. And again, Miami, traditionally ran, or at least recently ran that 4-3, sort of look. So I don't know. I guess in that sort of system, Mason Thomas could be a tweener type. I think he still kind of is. He's not the biggest. He's probably really like 6'1", but man, he's super explosive. I'm not sure exactly what Miami's pursuit is going to look like of him. I know that they saw him in person at a practice and still didn't really pull the trigger on the offer. So I guess we just got to see, man. I know people have said that he offered. Maybe they did. Honestly, he didn't like tweet it out or anything, and I honestly really haven't checked in on him to see if they did offer or anything like that. But I know that he's a name that they're very aware of. And again, they believe that they can see the twitch. They could see sort of like the freaky, sort of movement and stuff like that. It just depends on how they view him in the system and who else they feel like they might be able to get. I would be a fan of the take. I think he's a guy that's going to, let's say he goes to an Iowa State or he goes to one of these schools. He's going to be a guy that we're going to be watching him make plays on that, big noon Saturday that the Big 12 has. And we're going to be like, man, this kid really got away from South Florida. Like he's going to be one of those kids that it's just going to be like, why did he get away? So, I hope Miami makes a move for him. I think he's a really good player. But as things currently stand, honestly not entirely sure about where he sort of fits in with all that stuff. I hope that they give him a real look. Again, they're very aware of him. They've been aware of him. So it's just going to be a matter of how much do they really push for him?
Thank you, Gabby.
Yeah. Let's get Mr. 561. 561, what's up, man? Anything? 561? All right, let's go to Mike. MG Cliff, 305 till I die. Hey, what's up, Mike?
What's up, Gabby? Hey, so last week, Bo Nix entered the transfer portal. No one was allowed to said nobody could contact them, and then the very next day committed to Oregon. How, without violating the transfer portal rules, can that possibly happen? Because it just makes me wonder, could we be waiting till after bowl season to make moves on guys in a similar fashion? But how is it possible that a guy can commit the next day to another school if nobody's allowed to contact him without them contacting him prior to him entering the portal?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, sure. I was talking about the Bo Nix situation. Where he entered the portal, nobody was allowed to contact him, and then the very next day he committed to Oregon without allowing teams to contact him. So it seems clear that he was in contact with them prior to entering the portal. My question is, how can that possibly happen without violating the transfer portal rules? Because it makes me wonder if Miami could be waiting on kids till after bowl season to do something similar, but I just wasn't sure how that is possible, that a move like that can be made without contacting the kid.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I wish I had a straight answer for you there. Yeah, it's definitely interesting how some of those moves are made. And yeah, the Bo Nix stuff, I know that happened pretty quickly. I don't think it was like immediate though. It wasn't like the very next day, was it? I feel like it was like 2 or 3 days past.
See, I think it was like 24 hours later. Yeah,
it could. I mean, maybe it was, and I don't know. Like again, Bo Nix is someone I feel like he's a big name, but I'm curious how much like major Power 5 interest there actually was surrounding him. I'm wondering if Oregon was maybe just like the best spot. I honestly thought he was going to end up at like UCF or something like that, and just sort of reunite with Gus Malzahn with Dylan Gabriel going to UCLA.
Yeah, but the situation was he put a notification that you weren't allowed to contact him, so the coaches couldn't contact him. So I don't know.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yeah, so it was an interesting situation where he entered the portal, but you weren't allowed. The coach wasn't supposed to contact him. So he put that designation on himself, and then the next day committed to Oregon. So that's why I'm asking it.
Yeah.
Here, how is it possible that he can commit to Oregon the next day if coaches couldn't contact him if he wasn't already being recruited by them prior to entering the portal?
Yeah, dude, I don't know. That's a really good question for someone else. I have no idea how that works. Maybe something happened there. I really couldn't tell you. I'm not really super familiar with everything that went on there just because I wasn't paying like super close attention to what Bo Nix was doing. But, I mean, some of these guys have relationships from, throughout their high school recruitments. Let's not pretend like, there's not some back channeling being done, just throughout everything. I mean, we were talking about how, Miami was back channeling to Mario Cristobal. Like I feel like there's always conversations sort of being had and stuff like that. Now with this transfer portal era, I mean, Bo Nix probably knew he was leaving Auburn, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. Like there was probably a point where he decided that he was leaving and, maybe he just had a place in mind that he wanted to go. I really don't know exactly what that looks like. It's a new era of college football. There's going to be a lot of things that happen and there's just going to be a lot of newness and weird situations like that. I'm sure it won't be the first or the last. And, it's just sort of the way the sport's sort of transforming and stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure how to answer that, but wouldn't be surprised if we see it some more, honestly, just given the nature of the game right now.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Lionel Torres, what's up, man? You there?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, what's up, Gavin? My guy. Hey, question. I don't know if anybody's asked this yet, but have we discussed why David put those crystal balls in for all those guys in 2023?
Yeah, I brushed on it. Yeah, and I can definitely go over that again because I think it's important that you guys are just aware of how that sort of goes and stuff like that. So, people use crystal balls a different way. I think just the way, like again, with the confidence scores and all that stuff. And, I think that those are important. I know they're relatively new in terms of like the grand scheme of 24/7,
right?
Because, the crystal ball used to be the crystal ball and it almost felt definitive and stuff like that. But I know a couple years ago they introduced the confidence scores. It's a 1 through a 10. So I think the hope there was that we would be more willing to use them in a way that's maybe where the recruitment's sort of feeling out right now. The way that, maybe who's sitting as a leader, things like that. I think it gives us the ability to be more flexible about the way that we use it. So, the way that David used it, and I actually did something similar last Christmas that I honestly just didn't want to do again just because I got tied to a lot of those and I just decided that that's just not what I wanted to do.
Everybody's going to start tagging you and things when kids put out a top 7, they're not in it. They're coming at your neck.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Like I had to figure out where Dante Anderson was going for like literally 11 months because it became evidently clear that he wasn't going to go to Miami. And I threw in like a low confidence one for Miami at the time. And so I was literally scrambling. Like I didn't even like I knew he wasn't going to Miami, but I was still like trying to figure out where he was going like constantly because I just wanted to get that crystal ball off Miami onto like where I thought he was going to go. So
right.
So I just didn't want to do that again. So what he just basically did, he just took like, how I described it is he's just throwing 12 darts at a board and, with the hope that maybe, 7 of those hit. And again, I think they're all legitimate, like super early forecasts for different reasons. And he explains all of them, in that article that he posted and why he did that. But really, he's not tying any of those kids to Miami. He's not saying that those 12 kids are going to Miami or that they're going to commit tomorrow. I think he's just sort of, taking a super early shot, just like letting the arrows fly and say, these could be 12 guys that Miami eventually lands throughout the cycle. Like maybe like that Miami has a shot at landing throughout the cycle. It's a not saying it's a piece of content. We're producing content and stuff like that, and really it's just early predictions and stuff like that. So it's just something. It's really just a fun activity that he wants to do, and maybe some of them hit, and what. This time next year, we're going to be talking like the longest standing crystal ball on one of these guys is going to be David Lake, because on Christmas he took his shot and it ended up working out. I'm sure that's going to happen for potentially a few of those guys. So it gives and it takes, and it's really just a fun activity. But yeah, I know it's important that those crystal balls and the way that they're used and viewing the confidence scores, I think that's important that we start to learn how, like, not like we collect. I'm just saying, like, there's context there that's important too. It's not just like boom,
Right.
Derek LeBlanc is coming to Miami. It's like, all right, just let's try to just like peel the onion a little bit and see where this is coming from and all that stuff. So that's why it's good that you asked that question. So thanks for that.
Awesome, appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let's go to Manny. Manny, do you hear me?
Hello?
What's up, Manny? You hear me, man?
Yeah, Gab. I had two
Cool.
questions, brother. One, how do you feel about Miami with Jaylen Brown and Hakeem Williams? And the second one will be, what was your favorite O-line offers that Mario and Mirabel have given for the 23 class?
Yeah, so Jaylen Brown, I honestly feel pretty good about, Jaylen Brown and Ruben Bain. I think those are two guys that, really when it's